Hi everyone, Mike Hall here. Um, my hair is definitely getting completely out of control, but I'm not here to talk about my hair. Here to talk about stamps. Um, so clearly, lockdown boredom must be truly setting in if you're watching this, but that's okay because I could do with some company. So what I'd like to talk about today is the top 10 things you need to know to protect your stamp collection. And if you are spending serious money on your stamps, then I seriously urge that you take these 10 protective measures. So the first one is in handling your stamps. Now, first and foremost, don't move your stamps around any more than you need to. It stands to reason, the more they're tampered with, the more opportunities there are for something to go wrong. So that's the first rule. Also, when you're handling, never use your fingers. Stamps don't respond well to the grease and dirt on your fingers, which can damage the stamps. So what you need to use is tweezers, but not just any old tweezers. You need to use special stamp tweezers, which have blunt edges, and it can take a bit of time to get used to using these. These are what you must use if you're handling your stamps. The other point to bear in mind when you're handling stamps is be super careful when you're putting the stamps back into their protective holders or into a stamp album. It is a lot easier than you may think to bend a perforation on a stamp, and if you do that, that will reduce its value, unfortunately. Second thing is light. Stamps are creatures that don't respond well to bright light and in particular sunlight, so keep them out of sunlight. This can cause the colour to fade, it can even cause changes in the colour or even the stamps to crack, so it's something that you have to be very wary of. Also, number three, keep your stamps in a cool, dry place. In particular, keep them away from dampness and high humidity. Foxing and toning of the stamps can occur if they are exposed to these conditions, and that can be catastrophic to the value of the stamps. And it is probably the most common sad thing that I see when viewing stamp collections. So it's very sad. Um, Make sure that you don't store your stamps in a shed or a loft. These conditions aren't right for stamps. The temperatures deviate and materials contract and expand in changes in temperature, which can damage a stamp. So keep them away from that. Postal museums recommend that stamps are kept in temperatures of between 65 to 72 degrees Fahrenheit. One low cost option actually is you can use a wine fridge, which you just take the racking out and put your albums in there, and they'll be stored at the same temperature all year round. But I'll have to say, when it comes to temperature, I've seen a few scary things in my life, including a stamp that was worth £250,000 that was brought out of a cool vault and brought into a warm office. And I literally watched it curl up in my hand like one of those fish that you used to get in a Christmas cracker, quite terrifying. Fortunately, we managed to recover it back to its former glory, but it was a scary moment. Number four is keep your stamps away from all liquids. Stamps don't like liquids of any kind. It causes warping, fungal infections, and gum damage. And this can occur from any form of accidental spill. Don't be tempted to drink your cup of tea when you're with your stamps. Accidents can and inevitably will happen. When it comes to protecting against flood damage, it's recommended that you keep your stamps at least 6 inches off the ground, which is good advice, I would suggest. Number five is fire. Fire is the biggest killer of stamps. The amount of stamp collections that have been lost forever, particularly because of bushfires, is disheartening. It's common sense to have working fire alarms in your house and also a fire extinguisher. You can put your stamps in a fireproof safe, but I would just point out that those fireproof safes don't protect against any lengthy period of fire, so do bear that in mind. Number six is watch out for pests. There are two kinds of pests. The first are attracted to cardboard boxes and any paper-based materials, so don't keep your stamps in those sorts of places. They attract pests. You really don't want to see what happens to stamps when mice have had some time with them. It's really not a pleasant sight. The other kind of pest is children, especially young children. Make sure your stamp collection is kept out of reach of small children. Trust me when I say that stamps that have been coloured in by a 3-year-old have no value whatsoever. Number 7 is how to store your collection. The most important thing is to keep your stamps in a good condition, and to do that you need to keep them in a quality stamp album. I would go for a cheap album. You have special acid-free archival quality paper, and that keeps your stamps nice and fresh and prevents oxidization. You can also keep them in their protective covers, such as the ones we sell stamps in. If you keep them all separate, that prevents any fungal disease from spreading. Number 8 is thefts. Sadly, this is an all too common occurrence, and with the internet, more and more common thieves are becoming aware of the fact that stamps are valuable and therefore are interested in getting their hands on them. If you have a valuable collection, I would suggest you keep it under lock and key, and also try not to brag about the value of your stamps anywhere, which can lead to an opportunist event. Number 9 is record keeping. I strongly recommend you keep an electronic record of your stamp collection, and that this is also backed up on the cloud. I personally like to have a scan of every single stamp I own with a detailed description and its current valuation. It's also a good idea to have a paper file of all your purchase invoices and any certificates of authenticity that come with your stamps, again, which I would recommend that you scan such certificates of authenticity. And number 10, the final point, the all-encompassing protection, is to ensure that your stamps are insured. And to do this, I would recommend you use a specialist insurance company, not a general one, a company that has experience in handling insuring valuable collectibles. You should also make sure that the stamp collection is valued each year so that it's appropriately insured. So I think that's the top 10 things you need to look out for. If you want any further advice on protecting your valuable stamp collection, or more information on where you can buy the tools that I refer to in this video, please don't hesitate to get in touch. Another point is that we also provide secure storage services with third-party specialist insurance to our clients, which also includes an annual valuation, and these stamps are held in G4S secure vaults, and a lot of our clients like to use that option to protect their valuable items. If you would like further information on that, please do email me at mike@justcollecting.com. So thank you very much for listening, everyone, and keep calm and carry on collecting. Thank you very much.